Hello everyone, it's Paola and today I'm bringing you my most anticipated releases for July, August and September. Yes, I know we're almost halfway through August and I'm just now posting this. Bear with me. The first couple of books were all released on July 7th. I've already read one of them, which is great. The first one is Muse Squad by Shantae Cevido. I've talked about this non-stop. It's a middle grade fantasy about a 12-year-old girl. She's Cuban American and her name is Callie, and she discovers that she is one of the 9 Greek muses after she accidentally turns her best friend into a pop star. Cinderella is Dead by Kaylene Bayron. This is a sapphic Cinderella retelling, and it takes place 200 years after Cinderella was, I guess, crowned a princess. And now teen girls appear at this annual ball, kind of like cotillion. I get the feeling that it's kind of like that. And then men in the kingdom select, their wives. But our main character doesn't want to marry a guy. She wants to marry her best friend, Erin. So this sounds so much fun. I've seen the reviews, I've seen everything, like all the buzz around it, and I cannot for the life of me wait to have it in my hands. The Voting Booth by Brandi Colbert. This is a YA contemporary story. It takes place in one day only, and it's about Marva, a girl who sees Duke, a boy, get turned away from their polling place, and so she takes it upon herself to get Duke to exert his right as a voter. On July 14th, Running by Natalia Sylvester came out. This is also YA contemporary, and it's about a 15-year-old girl whose dad is a politician, and I believe he's running for senator position or at the House of Representatives, and the girl is slowly sort of realizing that politicians are, I guess, crooked, you could say. I don't know. I've heard wonderful things about this book, and I cannot wait to read it. On July 21st, The Total Eclipse of Nestor Lopez by Adriana Cuevas came out. This is a middle grade fantasy story about a boy whose name is Nestor, and he can talk to animals, but he doesn't want anybody to find out. But after the animals in his town are disappearing and there are, rumors going around, he has to use that power. These next couple of books came out on July 28th. The first one is called This Is My America, and it is by Kim Johnson. The synopsis contains all I needed to know for me to want to read this book, so I'm going to read you like the phrase that hooked me. Dear Martin meets Just Mercy in this unflinching yet uplifting YA novel that explores the racist injustices in the American justice system. The cover also really speaks to me, and I can feel my heart loving it already. I Kissed Alice by Anna Birch and Victoria Ying. This one says, for fans of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda and Fangirl, I Kissed Alice is a romantic comedy about enemies, lovers, and everything in between. I will confess to having loved Fangirl and having loved Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I know that's not really an unpopular opinion, but the other day on Twitter I saw someone go like, so you expect that to be in a synopsis and me wanting to read it? And I have to say that it does make me want to read a book. And then the last book that was released in July that I am highly anticipating, it's Today Tonight Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This one says, The Hating Game meets Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by way of Morgan Matson in this unforgettable romantic comedy about two rival overachievers whose relationship completely transforms over the course of 24 hours. So I will be honest and say that I have never read either The Hating Game or Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, but I know these are two books that are super well loved by the community, and I personally really enjoyed Morgan Matson's earlier work, so this one sounds interesting enough. And I also think one of the main characters is Jewish, so that makes me want to read the book even more. Moving on to August, the first book that I want to mention is Displacement by Kiku. This is a middle grade graphic novel about a girl who gets pulled back in time to witness her grandmother's experiences in a World War II era of Japanese internment camps. A, I love graphic novels. B, I love middle grade. And C, I love when grandmothers take a huge part in the story, in the characters' lives. And this year, we have been blessed with quite a few of them, so I'm very excited about this one. Paula Santiago and the River of Tears by Taylor K. Mejia. This is a Rick Riordan Presents novel about Paula Santiago and the legend of La Llorona. I didn't need to know anything about this book. I just knew that Taylor K. Mejia had written it, and I just knew that the main character was my tocaya. More Than Just a Pretty Face by Said M. Masoon. This one says, for fans of Becky Albertalli and Jenny Han, a sweet, funny YA rom-com debut about falling in love, familial expectations, and being a Renaissance man. These two comparisons have me sold. Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything by Raquel Vázquez Guillant. And this one says, Aristotle and Dante discovered the secrets of the universe meets Roswell by way of Laurie Halse Anderson in this astonishing genre-bending novel about a Mexican-American teen who discovers profound connections between immigration, folklore, and alien life. I don't even know what to do with myself after that synopsis. Dating Makes Perfect by Pintip Dunn. This comes out on August 18th. And this is a story about sisters that are not allowed to date. So this one sounds really interesting to me. And also the cover is absolutely stunning. I don't understand how such a beautiful cover is allowed to exist. Six Angry Girls by Adrienne Kisner. This one says, a story of mock trial feminism and the inherent power found in a pair of knitting needles. And the last couple of books that are coming out in August that I am super interested in reading are Letters from Cuba by Ruth Behar. This is the story of a young Jewish girl who leaves Poland during World War II to make a new life in Cuba, where she tries to rescue the rest of her family. I love books that are about family. I love books that take place during World War II. I believe they have a lot to teach beyond what we were taught in school. Now That I Found You by Christina Forrest. The bit of the synopsis that really caught me was, following in the footsteps of her uber-famous grandma, 18-year-old Evie Jones is poised to be Hollywood's next big star. That is, until a close friend's betrayal leads to her being blacklisted. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I love books about friends who fall out and the consequences of that. And finally, for August, we have Darius the Great Deserves Better by Adib Khorram. This is the companion novel / sequel to Darius the Great Is Not Okay. And this one says, Darius suddenly has it all. A boyfriend, an internship, a spot on the soccer team. It's everything he's ever wanted. But what if he deserves better? So this one really brings out the To All the Boys I've Loved Before fangirl in me, because that was one of my favorite aspects of the entire trilogy, about how Lara Jean had these expectations for her relationship, and when the relationship didn't meet those expectations, she was like, what do I do here? And this one strikes me as somewhat similar. I might be off on the comparison, but I'm very excited to see this one. And finally, these are the books that I am interested in reading that come out in September. I have 4 books that come out on September 1st. The first one is Never Look Back by Lilian Rivera. I was able to read this book and it stole my heart. It was so good. This is a Greek myth retelling, more specifically the Orpheus and Eurydice myth. And it features Afro-Latinx main characters, one of whom is dealing with PTSD after Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, and it was fabulous. Read it, watch the interview, fall in love with it, talk about it, shout about it, do it. Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. This is a YA fantasy, and it's about a Latinx boy who is also trans, and he sets out to summon the ghost of his cousin who was unfortunately murdered, but unfortunately-ish, he brings back somebody else. This one gives me major Undead Girl Gang kind of vibes, and it's making me all the more excited about it. Punching the Air by Evie Boy and Yusuf Salam. This is a hard-hitting YA contemporary novel about a boy who is wrongfully incarcerated. For those of you who don't know, Yusuf Salam was one of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five, and it just sounds like a book that will tear my heart and stump it and spit in it and then put it back together again. I don't know how it's gonna do that, but I can already tell that it will be able to. Recommended for You by Laura Silverman. This one says that it's a mix between You Got Mail and To All the Boys I've Loved Before, featuring Jewish characters. What the fuck is up with these kind of comps? I really need these books. Next up, coming on September 8th, we have Charming as a Verb by Ben Philippe. This is a fake dating romance between Henri, who is a very good debater, and he's also very popular at his school, and he is going to be pretending to date Corinne, his intense classmate and also neighbor. This one sounds so cute and fluffy, but also full of banter. Next up, also coming on September 8th, we have Transcendent Kingdom by Yajiasi. This one says, Portrait of a family of Ghanaian immigrants ravaged by depression, addiction, and grief. A novel about faith, science, religion, and love. Honestly, I didn't need to know all of that. I just wanted you to know, just in case you needed any convincing, highly anticipating this book or pre-ordering this book. But I just needed to know that Yajiasi wrote it. Coming out on September 15th, we have Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA murder mystery thriller about Enchanted, who is the only black girl in her school, and she had big dreams to become a famous singer, and she is believed to have been murdered by a legendary R&B artist. I love Tiffany D. Jackson. I've only been able to read Monday's Not Coming, but that novel, oh wow, it really, like, just thinking about it makes me feel emotional. So I really cannot wait to see what else she has to offer with Grown. When Life Gives You Mangoes by Karine Gettin. This is a middle grade contemporary novel about a young girl who can't remember anything from her previous summer after a hurricane. Each of Us a Desert by Marco Shiro. This is a YA fantasy novel about finding home and falling in love. I got an arc for this one. I plan to read it sometime in September or sometime later this month. I still don't know what's up with my TBR these days, but I really want to check it out. On September 22nd, Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. And this one says, a powerful standalone YA contemporary novel with a speculative twist in which Jamal's best friend is brought back to life after a freak accident, but they only have a short time together before he will die again. I think Justin A. Reynolds did an interview, or maybe he just tweeted, that this book feels like deeply personal to him, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Everybody Looking by Candace Io. This one says, when Ada leaves home for her freshman year at a historically black college, it's the first time she's ever been so far from her family, and the first time that she's been able to make her own choices and to seek her place in this world. As she stumbles deeper into the world of dance and explores her sexuality, she also begins to wrestle with her past, her mother's struggle with addiction, her Nigerian father's attempts to make a home for her. Ultimately, Ada discovers she needs to brush off the destiny others have chosen for her and claim full ownership of her body and her future. And this is also told in verse. Books like this really speak to me on a way more personal level that I could ever be brave enough to admit on the internet. And finally, the last book that I am highly anticipating for September, and it's Dear Justice by Nick Stone. This is the sequel to Dear Martin, and it's about an incarcerated teen named Quan who writes letters to Justice about his experiences in the American prison system. This one also sounds super hard to read, but incredibly necessary. So that's it for my non-romance most anticipated releases of July, August, and September of 2020. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if you had already heard about these books or what other books you're excited about that come out within the next 2 months. And if you haven't already and you'd like to, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!